Did you know teachers aren't humans? They're not allowed to show stress or age, have health problems, show fear, waste time, and most of all, fail. They're not even allowed to go to the bathroom. But that's okay, because we're here to talk about how we're all just playing a role. And at 3 o'clock, we get to be us again. 40 years ago, two 8-year-old boys were bored out of their minds in school, and they vowed one day they would do something about it. They did it to honor their friends. They did it to honor their classmates. They did it for the love of learning. I'm Matt, and this is Rob, and 40 years later, we get our turn, but now we're playing teacher.
Recording in progress.
Oh, recording in progress. Okay. Well, welcome to Playing Teacher. And Matt, this is Brooke here, and you're not seeing double. Rob has next to him his clone. No, it's not a clone. This is we've mentioned Dr. Neill several times
I was so lucky.
during our podcast, and he is here. That is actually Dr. Neill, live and in person. Dr. Neill. I don't know if we're supposed to say your last name because we always just called you Dr. Neill, and I don't know what you.
You can just call me Neill. That's fine. But it's good to be here with all of you. Nice to see you, Matt. Nice to see you, Broogie. And been hanging out with Rob. It's been really fun so far, and a surprise. we totally planned the outfit and the glasses.
Wait, is that for real?
So
yes.
For the first time, I have things like we were talking about desks like a couple of times ago, and there's things I keep on my desk, and I think someday I'm going to use that thing. This is a headphone splitter, and I knew one day I would need this, and today it is what's allowing us to both be here speaking into the same microphone and hearing you.
And you sound glorious.
Oh, so cool.
Mm-hmm. Music in my ears.
This is not the first time that Neill and I have shared things in our lives.
No.
I have a screwdriver on my desk, in a mug, and a tape measure. But you win. Well, I sidetracked you. So, what have you guys shared?
Yeah, that was my question too. What have you shared?
Our first.
That's more important.
Our first car.
Yes.
We actually shared a car.
The Nissan Rogue.
The Nissan Rogue.
Yep.
So we actually split the payments, and one of us would take it a certain number of days a week, and the other one would take it the other number of days a week.
How did that work out for you guys?
Well, I think we've also shared cups of wine in the Austrian hills.
Yeah, cups of wine and chocolates in the Austrian hills and in the Alsace region of France. We've been known to go to chocolate shops, buy bonbons, and split them in half, and then each take a half when we wrote our chocolate book.
They're kind of tastier that way.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. I love that you guys finish each other's sentences.
It feels like improv. Just say it.
Sharing an office at the school where we worked, which right?
Yeah.
A classroom and an office. Yeah.
True. The Nissan Rogue, there's a funny story behind that one. It worked out great the time that we had it. And there was a time I was driving on this long road into Port Jeff. Rob was, I think, in the city, and Liz was with me. And I'm going the speed limit. And I see in my mirror, cops, lights going on. I was like, shit, what'd I do? So I pull over right away. And I've only been pulled over 3 times in my entire life. And a cop comes up right away. And I said, sorry, officer, I don't know if I missed something. I don't think I was speeding. He goes, no, your plate. We ran your plate with the sensors. The insurance isn't paid.
Oh.
He's like, we're going to have to ask you to come down and ask you more questions. And I was like, no, I don't think so. So somehow I found this email from Rob, on the spot, that he had paid insurance, or I had paid. I don't remember who.
Yeah.
And fortunately, after some going back to his car, checking out with whoever, came back to my car and said, "You're free to go."
Well, thankfully you
Like
didn't
you
have to
said,
go
no,
down
I
to
don't
the
think so. And
station.
you somehow,
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't think I said I don't think so. I think in my head I said I don't think
yeah,
so.
yeah,
I
yeah. Like,
think,
I'm getting out
and
of
I'm
this.
like, but I'm gonna out of this. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. I knew I was like legally fine to drive, and I was like, no, no, this isn't happening. That was many years ago.
We've
Yeah,
also
You've heard a
shared
lot.
trips,
Yep,
cars,
neckties,
bow
a-
ties,
neckties and bow ties. Yep.
ascots, ascots.
mascots, lesson plans.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a teacher podcast, so I was trying to bring it back.
Neil, you had some interesting. You were a health coach, right? At one point,
Oh, yeah,
or
good memory, Matt. I
You
got certified in
I
something
need
called
that.
like
Yeah.
bowel biology,
Yeah.
and I tried to like connect it
Wait.
to,
Can you say it? Bow? Say it
yeah,
again.
it's like it was a German type of certification on like healthy living,
Okay.
and it was all about like everything that was in your home and your kitchen and what you were cooking with and chemicals that you're exposed to. And I like took it really seriously. It was like a 10, 12 week course. And I tried to like parlay it into like a side consulting business. And it didn't work out. Didn't work out.
Well, it's Matt, it's funny you should say that because did you know that Neil and I actually had a health coaching like kind of business that we started and we did together?
Of course I did. It's gonna be
wait, I
the
didn't know
next.
this. Did I know this?
Um, it was called
No,
health. It was
you
called
didn't.
health.
We just
So,
talked about it. We left you out of this
You
conversation.
left me out.
so
Yeah.
when I left
Yeah.
teaching and I was working with Dennis, like running the gyms, Neil and I
Oh, yeah.
started health coach house calls.
Yes.
And we would actually like work with clients,
Did.
and Neil handled more of like the household toxins, like that's the bow, and I handled more of the nutrition part.
We had a couple
Okay.
gigs
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
on the
We
Rob,
saw
West Side.
right.
Not
see,
big.
Rob basically did this for me for free because we're friends. Like it's one of the one of the bases of our relationship at the beginning. It's like
Um,
Rob. I still go to him like all the time. Like I fucked up again. Help me.
Of course, that's what you have to do. You need someone to
I
set you
totally
straight,
forgot that you
put you
guys
back on
did
the
that.
trail. Yeah.
You guys were also in a
Well, I
video
found it.
together on, right? Didn't you guys do a video? Somebody came to our building
Yeah.
to interview you.
oh,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Yeah. Your memory is excellent.
That was
Yeah.
there were these two filmmakers and they were doing a documentary about interesting New Yorkers.
Yeah.
And they came to the school. Yeah, and they filmed. It's on Vimeo. You can
Yeah,
look
it's
it
on
up.
Vimeo.
If
It's
you
actually
type in,
beautiful.
you go to Vimeo and you look
Yeah.
up Professor Chocolate, you'll see Neil and I talking about the writing of the chocolate book.
It was really
Yeah.
well done.
It was really well
I
done.
It
remember
was a
what.
good, yeah.
Yeah,
They
that
did
was
stop
really put
motion.
together well. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think we ever actually spoke about your Professor Chocolate book. Did
No,
we ever talk
not
about
really.
that? Yeah.
We should get
So
into
you
the
guys
Ultimate
origin.
Guide.
Yeah, the
The
origin
Ultimate
story.
Yeah.
Guide to Finding
Yeah.
Chocolate in New York is the
I
title. Yeah, the old.
I did tell a quick story though, and I'll tell it again because Neil's here. So, I started doing the chocolate research, right? And then and then I was diagnosed with the bile duct cancer.
Right.
And at that time, Neil was in a theology.
I was.
It was
New York Theological.
and was it masters or
It was a Master's of Divinity program.
masters?
Yeah.
Right. And so and you were almost done.
I was almost done.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm driving with Neil. I tell him I have bile duct cancer, and basically we had been talking about the chocolate thing anyway, because we had talked about maybe doing a chocolate or a cheese thing. It was like one or the other, right? And
Right.
so I was saying like I feel like I'm not gonna finish this thing. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I really want to finish it. And Neil just did you just leave?
I just left.
He just dropped out of the divinity thing and he was like, let's do it. And then like for the next 5 years, he and I every day go around, leave school, go around the chocolate shops all across New York City, like Brooklyn, sit down, taste the chocolate, interview the people, and then we, 2010, we published
We
the book.
wrote it without AI.
Yeah, no AI, right? The good
AI
old,
did not write that book.
the old-fashioned way. And
I still
So
have that on
you,
my shelf, I think. I'm gonna find it.
Aubrey, you do that.
I have a
I
couple
am.
for sure.
keep podcast. But so did you guys with like he's actually gonna go
But it is true that we were in France and we went to a little chocolate shop. I have a picture of it somewhere. And we were like, there has to be like little boutique chocolate shops like this in New York. Like we're like New York is New York. There has to be something. And so then we found the first one. It was Vote. It was Vote. No,
I
no,
think
it was Keys.
down in Lower East Side.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in Soho. And then we started there, and then we just started finding more and more and more and more. So
so you both sort of have like this adventurous like personality, you know, and then do you think like that almost carried over to the classroom? Like having that, side of you? Like
yeah,
that almost make you like better
Probably.
teachers?
I don't know. I've never thought about that, but I want to go back to the origin just for a moment, and we will answer your question because I think part of that exploratory and like adventurous kind of spirit led us to like this chocolate shop was not easy to find,
right.
and I think we went out of our way to find it, and I think our wives at the time were like sorry you go and do your thing, and we were just kind of like leading the way, and we stumbled, like I don't know if we stumbled upon it or you found it somehow, because remember this is like not when like Google Maps
Yeah.
is like that
Yeah.
readily reliable.
Right.
And so we read about it somewhere, or we stumbled upon it, or we were just looking for something that wasn't like a box type store, right? And I think there was like a revelatory moment in that place. Like, wait, why don't we have this in Manhattan? The greatest city in the world. And I think that was like part of like the genesis. I think this is like a great question about memory. It's like what actually happened, and then like the memory you have created over a 20-year period.
Oh my
I don't know.
God.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Oh yeah, there you go.
This was Neil and I's first business. We taught summer school for the first 2 years that we taught, to like 2001, 2002, and then we said, forget about summer school. Let's start our own summer science program,
Yeah.
and we called it Instruct, Expanding Young Minds. That was our science camp every summer.
And I think some of these pictures are actually from the castle in
Yeah, Belvedere Castle
Belvedere
in
Castle
Oh, okay. In
in
Central Park.
in Central Park. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you
and
take
then
students there? You took
Oh
students
yeah.
oh yeah,
there?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We had our whole thing. Here's our second company. Dicker Tutors.
We started this in Aubernay, France, I believe.
Okay, you guys are such punks in this
No,
picture.
no, okay. There was a sign that just said Dicker, and we added tutors using Photoshop, but we just, so that wasn't actually a
That's
thing.
your own personal business, and
Yeah.
we don't really need to know about it.
Oh, okay, but no, so just true story. I'm going to show you guys this. Come on. This was the actual chocolate shop. And
Oh
all
yeah.
the listeners out there, yeah, you're going to have to go to YouTube. I'm sorry. If you want to see all these amazing things, you have to go to YouTube.
Yeah.
This was us in France. This was that chocolate shop I mentioned.
I mean, my
So
goodness.
this was like part of the kickoff of the book, you know?
I mean, that
Oh my
display
God, you guys are
is
so little.
I know.
magnificent.
Wait, so
That's my
what year is
relative
this?
in
What year is this?
Bavaria.
I think it's 2007.
I feel like it is also.
Yeah. I was still married to my first wife, who was on that
Wait,
committee.
so was this
Chris-
before your surgery? This was before your surgery.
Yeah, this was before the
Yeah.
surgery was in 2008. So,
Okay.
yeah.
But this is some of the
Okay.
stuff that led up to it.
Yeah, then I have a million pictures of Neil and I at chocolate shops all over the city.
Fun.
Oh,
I mean,
These are some great old pictures.
I went
Yeah.
on a chocolate tour with you. Like I had a cousin that came in from California, no, Vegas,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you guys had organized
Yeah.
staff members from 239, and
Yeah.
we went on a chocolate tour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was a
We
lot of
did.
fun.
Well, we did a lot of tours. We actually like were part of Groupon, like when Groupon first started. Remember that? And so
Yeah.
we did
No, there were some tours we gave that were really
A
good, and
lot.
people
Yeah.
gave us tips and everything, and that was very much unexpected. What was the
So
person's name? This guy.
can we just
Oh, God.
rewind for a second?
Right.
The origin of your friendship.
Yeah.
You guys met. Can you guys talk a little bit about? I feel like maybe Rob spoke about it, but Neill, can we get it from your perspective?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Oh
Um,
my goodness, you guys.
That's a great shot.
that's a great shot. Was this the
That
show?
was us on the Food Network.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
All right. Yeah.
Which,
Yeah.
which, by
Neil,
the way, Rob was like made for the camera. Like he got a lot of airtime on that show.
Cool.
But Neil's the one that's like actually makes sense. You know,
So
he's
true.
like,
Neil's
he's like-
articulate.
I don't
I
know
was
about
like,
that.
oh, this is chocolate.
I think
Uh,
it's safe to say neither one of us knew exactly what we were doing.
yeah. Well,
Um,
yeah, I do want. So yeah,
yeah,
I've told our origin story, like the first kind of.
sure.
So I want to hear from your perspective, though.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. Happy to. So in the summer of 2001, in May of that year, I graduate from Temple University and knew at that time that I was moving to Queens and was going to be part of the Teaching Fellows program. Now, growing up in Pennsylvania and Philadelphia, I had been to New York City many times. I don't know if I ever stepped foot in Queens more than once or twice to look at an apartment with with my then wife, as this is the summer of 2001. In at some point in how this all like played out, we had to be at this big teaching the fellows event before the school year ended. And that was in I'm going to say it's like June 11th, 12th, or 13th. And I remember that because I got back from vacation somewhere and then moved in to this apartment in Queens. And then right after that, I had to go to this Teaching Fellows event. So I don't remember meeting you there. That was like this very crazy event with a lot of people at some place in Brooklyn. And somehow I get shuttled on this, I think on a school bus to Queens to the District 24 office, I think, which I had never knew it even existed before really that day.
Atlas.
Oh,
Oh,
Atlas Mall.
Atlas
Right.
Mall.
Yeah.
Oh
Right.
yeah,
Atlas Mall. Yeah.
it's a
Thank you for
great
saying
mall.
that. My uncle at the time was was like one of the heads of the Boy Scouts of New York City. And he knew this guy named Jack LaRock. And Jack had something to do, and I don't know what he did.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
had something to do with a connection to the superintendent of District 24. Do you remember his name? He was a white-haired fellow.
Yeah.
I
I
don't.
can picture him, but I can't remember his name.
So my uncle reaches out to Jack LaRock in like the spring of that year, says, "Hey, you know what? Neil's coming up here. I want to make sure he goes to a good district." Jack says, "Yep, great. We're going to get him to District 24." That's somehow some conversation worked out that way to make sure that I was safe and I was in good hands. So fast forward to this day in June, and I'm pretty sure this is where I met Rob, and it was at the district office at Atlas Park, and that's where we met Ellen Margolin, our first principal. And in this, I think, like large room with other teaching fellows,
Yeah.
there with our cohort of people, which I struggle to remember a lot of their names. Rob will probably do a better job of that. And I remember meeting Rob and in this large room, and both of us soon finding out we're assigned to PS 88. And I was like, great. Like I can just befriend, like I even said, like if this guy, I just know this guy a little bit, like just know somebody. I knew nobody at the time, absolutely nobody. I was 14 days into my New York City career and met Rob. And I just remember feeling so welcomed and cared for
That's
in
it.
that moment. I don't even remember what you said. And then was our meeting with Ella Margolin, who is this wonderful woman who stands maybe 5 foot tall. And she looked at both of us in the eye with this very firm handshake. And her first words to us were, "I love men."
Neil, was she
And
the same mentor that I had? That's the
yeah,
woman that I had for the admin
yeah,
program.
I think
Oh
probably
yeah, no. She's
she's
like
in
she reminded me of the old woman in Beetlejuice. You remember when I don't know if you
Oh,
were at the desk.
the
Yeah.
lady behind the
yes.
desk.
What are you get out of here, you
Smoking,
kidding?
Yeah.
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 She
smoking
was
And
a
great.
cigarette.
when
Well,
I had her also.
when Neil and I would have
Oh,
to
you
go
did, yeah.
in and like talk to her in the main office, we would huddle outside the office because
yep.
basically you have like 10 seconds, no matter how important the thing is,
Hmm.
and then you're gonna get kicked out of there, because she's very busy. So we'd be like,
Yeah.
okay, this is what we gotta say, and then like that's what like one of the places we learned to start like finishing each other's sentences. We were
Yeah.
like, blah, 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 and then she'd be like, okay, get out of here.
Were
Yeah.
you guys on
Yeah.
the same grade? Were you guys on the same
Yeah.
floor, the same grade? Yeah.
Put us in fourth grade on a different floor. I was in
Yeah.
214. Were you in 310?
Neil was in the new wing with air conditioning, and I was in the old wing with no air conditioning.
How did
So
How
that
did we
happen?
all get her? She was your what she was your
she
principal?
was our principal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's your principal. She ends up being my mentor for admin. And then Brugge, you had her for a similar thing, right? She was your
I had her, she was my mentor for the site administration program also.
Yeah.
Yes.
she it's kind of strange, right?
Yeah.
Well, she kept going because she had a lot of energy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she was a brilliant principal, and more importantly, she was a lovely person, and she cared about people. She cared about kids,
She
and
was awesome.
she wanted to
Yeah,
Yeah.
pivot
no,
to what
I
you
loved her.
experienced. She thought her role professionally was to support folks like you who
Th-
wanted to get into business.
Just like a
It
funny.
was kind of she was like a mother also, kind of like that
Yes,
mothering
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
figure.
mother
You know what I mean?
hen.
Like,
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
I love those teachers like that, like, or, admin or principals like that, just sort of take you under your wing, her wing and just give it to you straight, but
When
also just give you that support. God,
I was just thinking about your teaching styles. Like when you have your team meetings with your grade leaders, do you two hit it off right away? Do you realize that you complement each other as teachers? Only because like later on you guys are working together on all these different entrepreneurships and then, oh, that's cute. And then also being science teachers. So did you guys figure it out immediately or did it take a while?
No, I mean, we didn't know what we were doing,
no,
So like the first 2 years, we're just kind of like learning what it means to be a teacher from the admin, from the other teachers. We're watching people, we're talking to each other about it. And it wasn't like it became, you know what I mean? Like before Bloomberg came into
right.
office in 2004, it was more like,
That's a good point.
yeah, like the district office, there was a superintendent who was in charge of that district. It wasn't like a citywide thing where everyone has to be doing the same thing at the same time on the same day. And
Hmm.
Right.
so like a district had like each school had autonomy. You know what I mean? So we really just had to answer to Mama Schiff,
Yeah,
our assistant principal. That's what we called her.
that was
And then
intimidating
Mama,
enough.
and then like Dr. Margolin, you know what I mean? So, and it was great. And then so we were learning, but I would say that we really learned like the craft when we started the summer thing. When we were doing, because we would be with kids 5 days a week, 8 hours a day in the summer for like 8 weeks. Me and like Neil and
Yeah,
I going all around Queens, going to Central Park, going to the Bronx, like you know what I mean? Like
and developing
and
lessons.
developing enough less. Imagine developing 8 hours worth of activities for kids in the summer. That has to be fun. It has to be so fun that they want to come back the next day and the next day and the next day.
And when it
And
you
then
rains,
basically built your style outside the classroom.
yes, absolutely.
yeah, I would say that. That's
mhm.
Yeah.
that's a good point. I never thought of it that
Yeah.
way, but I think you're right.
The first, just a funny story during that summer, like the crash course on how to be a teacher at the district office. We had great people like mentors like Diane Marzek.
Hmm. Yes.
And but
Yeah.
anyway, so like we would
Remember her.
spend part of the day in the school, like summer school, watching teachers. Like so, we were kind of like teacher, observers or whatever. And then we would have to make our way from the school to the district office, right?
Oh,
So they would
right.
give you like 3 hours because some people were placed pretty far away from the district office, jumping on buses and trains and driving. We're so close. And then
You had a car.
my parents live right there. So everyone else, it's a heat wave. Everyone else is sweating their asses off.
Yeah.
They come in. Neil and I would spend 3 hours in the pool at my parents' house, sipping like margaritas, basically, like drinking out of coconuts, like
You
and
cooked for us.
like I'd cook us
Yeah.
food, and then we'd show up all refreshed and like we'd been in air conditioning. Everyone
I just
else
want to
is
say
Yeah.
that if Matt and I were there, we would have jumped on that. We would
Oh,
have
I'm sure you
figured it
would have.
out.
I would
Yeah.
add 2 coconut drinks.
yeah.
I don't
And
We
think
would
then
we
have
pass
allowed
figured
out
out
people.
how to
on the
be friends
side,
with
and you
you.
guys would just
We didn't
continue.
tell we didn't tell anyone. We
I don't
didn't
think
invite
we
anyone.
wanted anybody.
No.
I don't think we were like that attracted to someone personality wise to say, "Hey, come on and join
Come
us."
with me. Come with us.
Yeah, I don't think that happened.
Can you come over to my parents' house? It's just gonna be me and my friend. We're gonna drink some coconut drinks together.
I'm sure someone would have
Sure.
been
Yeah, we'll
obliged.
be. Yeah. So Neil,
Um,
so then how long were you at this first school with Rob before you came to our school and we were all together working together?
I think I was at 88 2 years, and then Rob went to, was it 04?
no, I went from
No,
88 straight to the school where we all worked.
yeah,
Yeah.
Um, Neil, you
stayed.
you stayed, but then you went somewhere else.
Yes. So I was at
Oh, you went
this,
somewhere else after 88. Okay.
not by
Before you came over.
And before our
Yeah,
school.
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
not by, that was a school. And we don't have to go too much into that school, but I had no choice. I was excessed because
Yeah,
I was the last one in. So last
right.
one in, first one out. And even at 6 years, there wasn't a lot of people that were leaving that school. So I was excess to this other school where I was there for a year and then came the school you're referring to.
Came
Oh, you were
over.
only there for a year?
Not at PS 88. No,
No, the
at
other
this other
school in
school.
between.
Yes. Yes.
Aw.
Yeah, it was only
That's a
a
great
year.
picture.
Do you
Do,
guys
do-
know that I officiated Neil's wedding?
Yes.
I did know that. And I did know that you wrote a piece of literature that was very significant for when Neil came over to where we worked. You want to talk about that? That was like the
Oh,
greatest thing I ever.
right.
That
Yes.
was the
50
greatest
reasons
thing.
to hire Neil Alleva.
Oh my
Yep.
God.
I still
It
have
was,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
you still have it? You
Oh
still have the
yeah.
book? Oh
It's
man.
in a it's in like in a treasure chest
Aw.
with like almost nothing else in it.
So for our listeners don't understand,
Yeah.
like Rob knew that Neil would be such a perfect fit for the school. He wrote was it like a journal or a book that
It
was
was
50
like
reasons why you should hire this guy for our school. And he gave it to the principal to look over. And that was
which
so,
by the way, she loved.
yep.
Yeah.
And that then you had the interview. That was before then you would come in for the interview, right?
That was before
So
the
you already had,
interview, and
yeah.
I think she used the word groveling.
Wait, so like now you're on the flip side as an administrator. What would you say to one of your staff members? I know we'll get into more of like that, your path there,
Sure.
but what would you say to a staff member who gives you a list like you to hire this guy?
If I got something as creative and as heartfelt and as beautiful as that, I would read every word. And then also there's like a level of cautiousness, like I can't promise anything, right? That we still have to interview this person and still have to get to know them and that kind of thing. But I would appreciate it. I've never received anything close. I get phone
Oh
calls,
man,
but I don't
it's a
get
great picture.
that kind of stuff. Oh my
So
goodness.
Oh
we're
my
all hammered there.
goodness. That's all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now where is
That
this?
was right
That's my
before
16th
you.
Street apartment.
Oh,
Yep.
After we like basically we were selling it. So but we like Carlene and I had our 40th birthday party there. Remember we got the bus and all of us went on
We
a
did like
bus.
karaoke on the
oh,
bus
Yeah,
that
yeah,
night.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had catering from Republic
Oh my God,
from
I
the
remember.
restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
My
it is.
God, what year was that?
It must have been
Like 10 years ago.
what was 9 years ago? It was
Yeah.
Oh
Okay.
my
9 years ago.
2016 or 2017.
Babies.
Yeah, no, 2016,
Um,
fall of 2016. That's what it was.
Wow.
Um,
Neil, do you
Great
remember
picture.
anything that was on that list? Like, does anything pop out to you?
There
Do you
were like,
remember any?
I think there were, number one, super creative. I think there were some things on there like he, is a great teacher, he's creative, like things like that. But then then you wrote other things, I think like he runs fast. Like like, like you can
Which
count
is
on him
very
for a
important.
loping
Which is
kid.
very important,
He'll
actually,
be
if you think
there.
about it.
Yeah.
You know,
Like
something's
stuff like
wrong,
that.
he'll get there
Like,
faster than anybody else.
Well, I told the story about how he left to the Divinity thing. Like I said, he's just a great friend. Like he would drop everything for you, because because our principal there, like loyalty meant a lot to her.
yes.
And I wrote a big
Yeah.
thing about
Oh
loyalty.
yeah.
But I think one of the things Neil's talking about here too is I told a story about when he and his wife and me and Carlene, we went to the Grand Canyon on vacation, and we hiked down to the Grand Canyon. And me, Carlene, and his wife at the time, like we basically couldn't we ran out of water and we couldn't get back up. We were like, we're gonna
My
die
God.
down here. This guy fucking ran up. He ran all the way up and out, and then he came back down with water for all of us, and then we all went back up. You know what I mean? So I think
that's a great
remember that.
memory.
I think I told that story.
So that's like three different skills. He's fast, he's strong, he's caring. You could divide all of those things up.
Yeah, I mean these are qualities too of like the what was your name in PBIS? Respect.
Oh,
Responsibot.
Responsibot.
He was the
Responsibot.
responsibot. Rob was the Determinator, and I was the respector.
Okay, yeah. So right. So when Neill was hired at 239, there was like a bunch of things that we all did together, and PBIS was one of those things. So now you're at two.
Thank you, Artie.
Sorry, go
I
ahead.
remember when it happened. I was standing
Oh,
in the
God.
gym. You guys came over to me and just said, "We're doing PBIS." I said, Matt, you're doing it too. Like
Oh, yeah.
we're all just doing. We just the four of
Wait.
us just didn't even have it. Like it
were
wasn't a thing.
voluntold.
They just put us together for a long time, right? To do these things.
Yeah, because the four of us worked together. Like we worked
Yeah.
everything. The
Yeah.
four of us clicked.
We did. It was very fun.
You know that I saw Artie like a year or two ago.
No,
Oh
No,
my
where'd
God,
you
I haven't
see
heard
him?
that name in such a long time.
I know.
He basically came to my old building because they were doing a check-in program,
Wow.
and they wanted to, somebody hooked that from the district hooked him up, and they were like, "Oh, Brookie, you used to do this." I'm like, "Yeah, I did." So they
Wow.
brought me in, and yeah, and I spoke to him for a while.
They dug it up from the grave.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was he in a
He
band?
looks
Was he like a drummer in a band?
Like he's still
He was in
doing it.
He's still
It-
doing it.
Wow.
Was he in a band? He was in a band though, right?
He
was a
was.
drummer?
I think
Yeah.
Neill, didn't you go and visit him or see him play? Was
I
it you and
think
Jamie?
so.
Did Jamie go?
Jeez.
I don't
Your
know.
memory is so good. It
He-
rings a bell, but now I don't know if that's like, again, back to
Wait.
like a fabricated memory, or
Yeah.
did
He
I
was such a
actually
unique
go? Like
cat.
I don't
Like,
know.
I just remember how he ran his PDs and stuff, and people didn't know what to make of him, because
Yeah,
he
he
would
used to wear
he would sort of take his
cowboy boots.
time, and just sort of, he had this interesting way of making his point, and people were like,
Yeah.
where's he
Remember-
going with this? And then it got there. It got there. And
It
he
did
was
get
doing
there.
it for a reason.
He had a
I
real
thought he was great.
he had a real pet peeve. I don't know if you remember this. He'd be like,
Oh yeah.
he's like, don't call it PBIS system. He's like,
not a system.
PBIS stands for
No, it is a system.
Positive Behavior Intervention System. If you call it PBIS system, you're saying Positive Behavior Intervention System. Like he's so bothered. It's like when someone calls something a PDF file. It's like they're using the file. He like that bothered him so bad. Like,
But it is
Oh,
a system.
shit.
You have to
Wait.
you have to call it a system. If you didn't call it a system, you're in
Broogie,
trouble.
I just blew Broogie's mind with PDF.
She's saying time out. Yeah. What you got, Piggy?
What does that mean? What?
No, it's not. No, I'm sorry. It's not actually accurate. PDF stands for portable document format, but I think I've heard people who think it's portable document file. So if you say, but it was,
You could be forgiven.
yeah, it
for
was
that
probably a
one.
bad example.
Yeah, I think so.
But I think
too.
like looking back on Artie at the moment, it's
Yeah.
almost, and I feel bad saying this now, but it's almost like maybe he did a disservice to it, because I think if you think about it in systems, it's like helpful to say the word system. And when you just say PBIS, are you really thinking of it as a system? I don't know.
No,
Mm-hmm.
But
no.
I'm looking online of any sign of Artie.
Do you remember all the words, the code, like the code word, the buy-in? He didn't have 100% buy-in. It wasn't going to work,
Yeah.
right?
Tier
But it
3.
was,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, tier 3,
I
tier
I
4, tier 1,
do
2.
I do have to say that, like, after working with two other principals after meeting with Artie and working with Artie, when you have leaders that come in that want to take on PBIS, don't really understand it,
Well, that's
it,
what
it
happened.
falls, yeah, it falls
It's not
apart.
just about changing the name of the reward, which happened. You remember like they just changed it to a new
Right.
dollar, with a new dollar, there was
No,
other,
stop.
yo,
goodness.
This is the man right here.
Yes, he used to wear cowboy boots.
Yeah. If you're out
These
there, we want you on the podcast, Artie.
mutton chops. I'm gonna get him on.
That's him.
Is that okay with you? I'm
Yeah,
gonna bring
please
him on.
do. Jeez, that'd be
yeah.
awesome.
I'm gonna reach out and say we have a podcast. We want to invite you. Please come. Oh my goodness.
I think I think he had us introduce, we did a PD for him, right? Like
Yeah.
on what we were doing, use us as an example
Well, we had
to,
He-
wait. I'm sorry,
to
Boogie.
explain it.
What did you say about the schools? I'm sorry, I was looking for his picture. You said you were
No,
at
it's fine.
two schools, and they what?
No, yeah. So all I was saying was that since our first principal, when we were working with Artie, and
Yeah.
then I worked with two other principals after that who tried to continue on with PBIS, but didn't really understand
Oh, yeah.
what it
Okay.
was. They weren't trained on it. So
Yep.
it literally fell apart.
Yeah.
Like changing just like the names of the names of like the little rewards, but not really and bringing on new staff members, and there was no training with the new staff
Yeah.
members to explain to them what it was. So it just fell apart. And PBIS works. If
It does,
everyone's
yeah.
on board, it works.
I've been
So
to a lot of schools where they hate it. They say it doesn't work, but I'm sorry to say this to those schools if you're listening out there, but it does work if you do it well. If you do it well, I think we
yeah,
did
with
it
fidelity for sure.
exceptionally well.
We
We had to sit. We
we
had
were
a
really like
yeah.
insanely committed to it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
There was no, we didn't miss a meeting, like we got them all motivated about it,
And and
at the
just to
beginning.
go, yeah.
The
But the teachers,
posters
you kind of knew
stayed up
some
until
teachers
last
were
year.
annoyed by it.
Did it really?
Broogie, when did you take
Really?
when did the posters finally come down? And she has one. By the way.
So I have one. I have the last one, and every single one was torn, came down like one by one. And then last year I found the last one in the hallway, and I'm like, I'm taking
Really?
it. Nobody's gonna. People are gonna throw this out. I
When we
want
say
it.
we were like superheroes to do this, we actually had assemblies where we would
did.
come in as the superheroes, fully dressed up, and we made entrances and to explain it, as Rob as the Determinator came out, there was full costumes that we had, and I think Brug, were you introducing us, or I think we did it
I
like one
was,
at a time.
yeah, I know we talked about PBIS in an earlier episode, but yeah, I was the introducer, and you guys, and we basically had three, right? Determination, responsibility, and respect.
Yeah,
And
those are the
what
three
that looked like
behavior
in
characteristics. Yeah.
different spaces. And yeah, like Maddie just said, we were model school for other schools in the district, which was really nice. Like we did an awesome job with PBIS, so we should give ourselves.
Everybody around the school would have cash, the fake cash that we called, and with the principal's name, before,
Yeah.
and then they would give it out if they caught somebody
Being good.
doing any of these things. But that was for everybody. We're talking about custodians, how to do it, the lunch staff, the aides. We would just give them wads of cash and going around and like, oh, here you go.
Yeah, and the best, I bet just PBIS again, like the best part was the kids didn't really want any tangible items. They wanted to spend time with teachers, and that was
That
right.
was the key. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the key.
I have not thought about this in a while, but now hearing you all talk about it, we did put on those skits, and it was to like the roaring applause of
Yeah.
the hundreds of kids that
They were
were.
insane for
Yeah,
Yeah.
it.
and I want to say that Rob was the mastermind behind creating these kind of like, and maybe Matt, you were too. I'm sorry. I know I wasn't. But Rob, maybe the two of you did this, created um, these moments where we like would come out on stage and like I think it was like this kind of like peekaboo almost thing. Like Rob would start sticking his head outside behind the curtains, and Matt, you and I were doing
Rile,
some kind of skit, and then the kids would start going wild. I
rile
mean,
them up.
absolutely wild to see Rob. And then
Um,
it was all about
sorry, go
being
ahead.
responsible. No, that was all.
Yeah.
So I don't know, we're 45 minutes in. I don't know how much longer you guys want to. We're just chatting. I mean, we could do another episode. I just wanted to, talk about, like, just get into a little bit more about like what we did together at 239, but also like where you went. Like, we haven't seen you.
Sure.
So
I've been
Neil,
hiding in a
your
hole.
job, your job title now, you're an assistant superintendent for human resources.
That is correct. Yeah, it's a
Cool.
lot. It's a lot of syllables.
Matt's the
Yeah.
researcher.
Thank you, Matt.
No, I'm
In
Matt
not.
is.
I am definitely not. But I did,
it,
you know.
in the Katona Lewisboro School District. So when I answer my phone,
Yeah.
I sometimes say,
I didn't. I
"Hello, this
couldn't
is
pronounce
Dr.
that, so
Alleva,
I didn't say
Assistant
it.
Superintendent of Human Resources in the Katona Lewisboro School District." And I'm like,
Do
Well,
people are like,
not.
"Wait, what?"
No, you do not.
Occasionally, if I don't know who it is, I mean, sometimes I'll just pick it up, and if I know who it is, I'll
Uh,
just say, "Hey, it's Neil." Um,
So
so
good.
where did I go? I had the absolute pleasure of being hired in the Mamaroneck school system in 2016 as an assistant principal of this absolutely stunning and amazing elementary school of 700 kids. It was the name of it was Mamaroneck Avenue School. I was the assistant principal there for 2 years. It's a district that is like a microcosm of the country when it comes to demographics. So the number of white kids to kids of color to Hispanic kids to black kids was just really mimetic of the rest of the country. And the superintendent there used to say, if we can kind of like solve education here and make it really good for everyone, like it becomes a template for like the rest of the country. I don't think we got that far, but that was always like the beacon, the shining star for us. So I was assistant principal of this really complex. So there was one principal, one AP, 700 kids. It was the district, 4 elementary schools. It was the district heartbeat of special education. So we had 8 to 1, 12 to 1, 15 to 1, and ICT on every grade. It was also the district's only bilingual program. So there was a Spanish English component, which we called Dos Caminos, two roads. And so every other day, kids who got into this program, they would have English on one day, Spanish on the next, and they would flip starting from kindergarten. So we built that program out. It's now in the middle school and high school. After 2 years, the principal there had left, and they quickly kind of made me the interim principal of the school, and then later the principal. I said, earned my way through interviews. I don't really quite remember all of that, but I was a principal there for 3 years. In the middle of that was COVID. So just
Mm.
ushering a school through all of that. And then again, it was me and one AP in charge of close to 1,000 people on a daily basis. And at the end of COVID, it came very clear to me that I wasn't being pushed out or anything like that. I could have stayed, but I needed to move on, and I needed to do something a little bit different. And that got me into human resources in the Katona Lewisboro School District, where I was hired by a superintendent there. His name is Andrew Selesnik. He's a lovely individual, and I'd call him like an HR guru. And he really took me under his wing for a few years while he was superintendent. And so I learned a lot from him about just not only the compliance part of human resources, which that's something that is just an ongoing learning for me, but the human centeredness of human resources. and giving me like a lot of longitude and latitude to re-envision human resources as something with a lot more empathy and a lot more care. And in the last 2 years, it's been a different superintendent, and that's been equally um, amazing and wonderful for me in different styles and different types of leadership that I've learned from. So that's a condensed version of the last 9 or 10 years or so. I guess 10 years at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your responsibility is to deal just with staff, right?
So no, with the prior superintendent and this superintendent, I think them knowing my background with as a principal and AP and dealing with kids, so I do sometimes manage parents that are unhappy from the school level and have not received maybe the response that they wanted. And also, I do get involved in some student issues. And my title might be changing to human resources and student services. But you're right, Brookie. For the most part, it's staff. Um, Go ahead.
Can I just say what a colossal blunder it was for the administrator at the time to not hire Neill when she had a chance
Oh yeah, thank you.
as an administrator?
Well,
Thanks.
okay, so
That was a
can I just
possibility.
say something?
Yeah.
I
Well,
was
a
I
lot of
was
drama there.
going
A lot of drama
I was
bringing up.
going to bring up the letter that we all received in our mailbox, like just basically, I don't know if you guys remember that letter
Wait,
that we got in our mailbox saying
I
that
don't.
No.
that there were a
Um,
lot of administrators with their administrator license, and it was basically like the new
we don't hire from
came
within, that kind
in.
of thing.
I'm breaking from the regime, and we are not hiring within the school building, and then ended up
Yes.
hiring outside of the school building.
It was the stupid, like the most stupid, like the most idiotic move in the history of administrative decisions.
And I
I
wasn't
could
going
have
to
still
bring
been
it up
there.
because I
Everyone
wasn't
Yeah, yeah.
being
Thank,
hired
I mean,
from
thank.
within.
I'm
No,
glad.
no,
but
yeah,
I'm
no,
You
please,
know.
so
we've got, yeah.
happy that you brought it up, Rob. Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
ridiculous.
It was basically, I mean, we did an episode on this. It's one of our most popular episodes. It's how people get hired in the DOE.
Oh,
Principal
yeah.
is basically saying, I'm not going to hire the most qualified person. I'm going to hire like my friend Janet over here, from another school, who's
Right.
the godmother of my kids, like that kind of thing. Right. So yeah. And
Yeah.
then the school goes downhill. It's a big disaster, so
It's funny. You say it and I remember it. I don't, but it's not something I've thought
yeah.
about. And I think it's because I just got so lucky being in Mamaroneck with a
Yeah. Right.
really professional superintendent and someone named Annie Ward, who's an assistant superintendent of curriculum instruction. Still like just a light in my life. So people who I would
Things
have
happen
never
for a
met.
reason, man. It
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
probably a good thing that you got out
I
when you
would
did.
love to know, Neil, your perspective as an administrator dealing with COVID. We we know our own experiences as teachers and as parents dealing with COVID, but as an administrator in a building and building leader dealing with not just students now or a classroom, you're dealing with all of the staff and all of the attendance issues and technology, trying to get people online. So I'm sure that was incredibly stressful.
It was, and I think at the time I was like reading some of like Brene Brown's like Dare to Lead book. And so like the worst thing you could do at that time was like stand pat and stop doing things. So like the assistant principal and I, her name's Sandra, we, I mean, there were mistakes. We absolutely failed, utterly failed at some things. But that was because we were trying new and different things on what it meant to lead a school through a pandemic remotely. And that meant everything from sometimes being in my office and doing a Zoom from there to show that everything is going to be okay, to finding kids that we couldn't find. Like we thought they were okay, but like literally going knocking on doors with masks on, so and so home, and are they okay? What do you need? Do you need a device? Do you need an internet connection? And the district was just unbelievably relentless and even found a way through Verizon to amplify Wi-Fi in and around the town So kids who
That's
didn't have
amazing.
Wi-Fi could access whatever kind of teaching and learning that was going on at the time.
I don't
Um,
think we had anything where anybody was going anyone's home to check where we
but
were, you know.
that's also the difference of like being in a school district that is well resourced and something is so um, mammoth as the DOE and not being able to act on that kind of thing for a million kids, right? So we're talking about a small subset of a population. So there are some significant differences as you could imagine.
Yeah.
But I guess to continue on that point of like being brave, we designed lessons and conversations for our kindergarten and first grade teachers and K to 5, but right after George Floyd and just like what the country was wrestling with at the moment. And we had serious conversations with our kindergarten teachers about how to talk to 5 and 6 year olds about what was going on to make them feel safe. And we did it. And it was a lot of wrestling with those ideas. But things that like I certainly don't
You're
regret. There
you're
are other
you're the
things I think
perfect
we messed up on. I don't think that was one of them.
No, you're the perfect guy for that because you has always had like almost like a secret composure. You know, you're always balanced. You always kept a level head. And like I would go to you when I was losing my mind sometimes, in school, and you would just you would have answers. And I'd go to Rob too, but when Rob wasn't there, I'd go to you. And like so, what's your secret, I guess even doing what you're doing now, or even when you were a teacher, of just kind of keeping a level head and not and just sort of getting through certain things. How do you just keep it all together like that? Because I have seen it, and you have a way of just taking everything in, almost putting into a certain compartment in your mind, not overreacting, and then figuring out what the right course, almost seeing a couple steps ahead, like a chessboard. On any secrets for other teachers, any advice on how to keep it
So
together like that?
I don't know. I mean, Matt, first, that's very sweet of you to say, and thank you. And I think it's mutual. I think we all were able to be there for each other, whether it was in like a triad or a dyad or this quartet, right? That we always found a way to be there for one another. Um, I think I didn't have the words for it then, Matt, but I think it's what some folks call like gritty facts and gritty resilience, right? So it's like being able to face the gritty facts and gritty faith is what I want to say. So, for example, like I think there's this innate maybe desire for me to face the brutal truth of the reality, but then not lose faith that it's going to actually be okay. And like it's a paradox that has to be held kind of in tension. But I think when you have those two things, I actually think that there's a name for it. It's called the paradox, and it's named after an admiral who was tortured in Vietnam. And after he was tortured many years, he came back to the United States and he was asked, like, "Hey, how did you survive?" And they said, you must have been optimistic about this. He said, "No, no, I wasn't optimistic. I was realist." And what he meant was he faced the brutal reality of being imprisoned by the Vietnamese, but also had the faith that it was going to be okay. Now, this is an extreme example, but that kind of paradox, I think, is used in these situations where it's not life or death, Matt, like where, but it's more that composure is that belief that it's going to be okay, and but also not ignoring the truth that's in front of you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I think that's
Yeah, I'm
great
not sure if
advice
that
for
makes sense,
teachers
but
and sometimes teachers feel not, literally life and death, but they do feel at times because, whatever you're doing in the building, working with children, it's a very stressful, insane, experience sometimes. And sometimes you need that kind of advice. So
you
thank you,
do.
Dr. Neil.
You're welcome. And
And
I want to add one other thing to that because there's
yeah,
another
please.
part of that story from Admiral Stockdale. And it was that he was asked, did you happen to see people who passed away? He said, yeah. And it wasn't really because of the torture. They died of what he said, broken hearts. And he was asked, like, well, what were they? He said they were the optimist. By Christmas, I'll be home. By my birthday, I'll be home. And then they weren't. And they weren't able to face that reality was just so relentless on where they were imprisoned. And so, like, but that kind of mindset can take you a long way in teaching. Like, what's the brutal reality you're facing with your kids or with parents? You can't ignore it. You can't run away from it, and you can't just be an optimist about it, right? And but then you also have to have the skills to say, well, how am I going to get through this with this parent or this kid or this lesson or whatever it might be, or an administrator,
Right.
and then come up with ways to kind of show up in the world.
Do you guys want to hear a tie into the psychology there and education?
Please.
So when you have, this is building directly off of what Neill said. So when you have a survival scenario for anyone, right? Um, what's perceived by the brain as sort of like life and death, sort of like, how am I going to get through this? You think of like dopamine and serotonin, right? These neurotransmitters in the brain, and people think that with dopamine, people think that it's like we eat something good or we experience something good, and then we get a shot, like a surge of dopamine. Like that's how we usually think of it, but that's not true. That's not how it works. And I think what I'm about to say explains a little bit about how our teaching styles work, right? Like the things we've talked about in the classroom. How dopamine really works is that we have an anticipation of something positive, right? And then dopamine is released in anticipation of it happening, and it helps with the motivation to help us see through the things that will lead us to making it happen, right? So like when we're teaching kids, like the hook, the build up, right? Like the staging of the room. The kids come into the room, they think that it looks wonderful. They anticipate something cool happening. The dopamine comes in. They're motivated to do whatever it will take to make this imaginary thing that they think is going to happen, right? And so, but when people are in that survival scenario, sometimes the reward contingency switches. It's like a short circuit. And so basically the person in that scenario, and we've had kids like this. So kids who are raised and they experience real hardship when they're kids. And like when they're young, from the time that they're young and every day when they go home, right? And a lot of our students are like this. And Brugge, you know this better than any of us. The reward contingency changes and the dopamine starts to get released for the opposite reason. So like anything that they perceive as being beneficial to their survival, which is catastrophism, like staying in a heightened sense of fight or flight, that starts to become like something that receives positive reinforcement.
It feels good, right?
And it feels good because but at the same time, it's kind of sad that the brain rewires itself in that way. So they no longer find pleasure in the normal things that other people do. And so there's like a tie into depression there, right? So
That's significant.
but you can see that in certain kids. If you've worked with a lot of kids, especially in schools like the ones where we've worked and in other places like where you mentioned, you can see that in some kids. And that's an example of where PBIS works well, right? Like it helps with those tier 3s, right?
Good tie-in to the PBIS.
I think that's why I went to you guys because I was very depressed.
So
The bill will be in the mail, Maddie. You get it.
yeah.
That's why I
Rob's still waiting for that check.
I'm just joking. Yeah. What I really want to know is what are you guys gonna have for dinner together tonight?
We already talked about
Like,
this.
what's going
Yeah.
on?
Wait, Briggy, your
You broke up there.
audio's
Yeah.
breaking
Yeah,
up
sorry.
as usual.
That's usually when we
Every
wrap up.
every time. It doesn't
You-
it doesn't matter. And you know what?
Can I
won't
just
get-
ask them what they're gonna have for dinner? Because
You really want to know, right?
Can I just finish getting the answer to my question, Briggy?
Shut up.
their snack is gonna be a giant bag of popcorn because Neill always had a giant bag of
Oh,
popcorn.
I mean, I love popcorn, but I am super excited for this meal.
Yeah, we're not sure,
All right.
but the last time Neill was
Whoa.
here, the last time
All right.
that Neill was here was actually in 2017, and we went. He remembers going to this place. This is my neighbor. My neighbor happens to be the chef at the greatest Indian restaurant in probably North Carolina.
He's a revelation.
So anyway, we're probably going to go here We're probably gonna
All right.
get
Some great Indian
some
food.
dal and rice. We're
Oh, yeah.
probably gonna get some
A lot of food.
yeah, some good stuff here.
My God, I'm starving.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that's what we're
Yeah.
having for
I
dinner.
got to I gotta go walk my dog, and then we're gonna have a mini Seder here
Yeah.
for
Oh, nice.
Passover.
Oh,
So
happy. That's right. Is it Happy Pesach? No. What is it?
I'm the worst Jew, yeah, but I think that sounds right, Neil.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
that sounds right. Thank you,
Yeah,
and
enjoy tonight.
happy Passover to Liz and
Thank you.
and
Thank you. Yeah, we're going to celebrate Saturday.
oh, awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. And guys, so I'm going to head out. Are we wrapping? You
Yeah,
guys
why don't you take us out of here, Maddie?
All right, Neil.
Happy Passover, Maddie.
Thank you, Brug and Neil. It was so great having you on.
It's an honor. This has been an absolute honor. Thank you. Thank you. So Rob picked me up from the airport and said, "We're going to do a podcast."
Oh my God, this is crazy.
Like,
You
prepare
didn't
for
know
anything?
until you came down.
Not until he got in
That's
the
awesome.
car at 3
Oh
o'clock.
man, that's so
Get
awesome.
out of here. Wait, I want to know.
I
We
thought
can
he
talk
probably
about
knew
this
like a
off
week ago.
air. I'm just curious, like what is this like? Was this in an impromptu visit? Like it's a real turnaround here. Like you're coming in and leaving tomorrow. Like
It is a
what-
real turnaround. That's how we roll in Connecticut. No, you know what? I've been trying to come down here probably since I left, and it just like never worked. A couple times, it didn't work on my end, or it didn't work on his end. And I think a couple weeks ago, I reached out and said, "Look, this is working, and Mason's got school, and I got this time off. I can fly from New Haven, that's in Connecticut, for those of you who don't know, to Raleigh, Durham, and it's like an hour 15 or hour 20 flight."
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the plane, I got here so early. The plane was barely half full leaving New Haven,
Wow.
that we left early. I don't think I've ever been on a flight that left early. Yeah, so it was impromptu, and knowing that Mason has off on Friday, so I'll be home in time for that. And it's just the stars aligned. So here we are.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, it was awesome seeing you again, Neil, and
was
catching
great
up,
seeing you
and
guys.
some funny stories, some deep stories, and just going through. You guys have a real special history. We had a great experience, just working with you for all those years. So
It's
thanks for coming
mutual.
down.
It's very
And
mutual.
So for Brug, Rob, Dr. Neil, myself, Matt,
Dr.
thanks
Neil.
for tuning
Dr.
in
Neil.
to season 2, episode 1. Or
Yeah.
episode 26 if you're if you're
No,
doing the
season two,
math.
episode
Okay,
one.
season 2, episode 1 with Dr. Neil. Thanks for tuning in to Play and Teacher, everybody. We love you.
Bye.
Peace. Bye.